Hey everybody, thanks for stopping by again for another episode of One Seed, One World and another update on the greenhouse build. Please subscribe to our channel while you're taking a look at this video. So today we're going to do the soffit, and for my soffit I am using this polycarbonate 2-ply sheet. Now as a general rule I wouldn't recommend this as a soffit because it's not cost effective. This stuff is fairly expensive. I think it was probably around $37 a sheet, but I had originally bought this for doing the roof and then decided not to use that and go with the corrugated plastic instead, because this was kind of a pain to work with for the roof because I am not familiar with working with it. Although it is a much more efficient roofing material than what I'm using. So if you've got better skills than I do, this would make a good roofing material. But because I had some left over, I took a lot of the stuff back that I had originally bought, but I do have multiple sheets left over, and so I figured I'd go ahead and use this for my soffit pieces to close in my overhang. Normally you would probably use wood or even like aluminum, or I don't know, maybe like a fiberglass or something that could go up in there. But the one thing I liked about keeping this is that because it's clear, the sun can shine straight through, so if I plant flowers underneath my overhang, it's going to get more light in theory, rather than if I used wood or something that was, you know, more solid. So this stuff comes completely wrapped in plastic, and so you got to peel this plastic film off before you can do anything with it. And so what I need to do is cut this to the size of my overhang, which is about 21 3/8 inches is what I'm going with. You know, because I built this and I'm not a carpenter, it's not perfect along the whole edge with the overhang. Some is off by like 1/4 of an inch or so. But as an overall average, 21 3/8 looks like it's gonna do. So I need to trim this back. So the first step is to peel back this plastic. And to start, you only need to really remove the plastic in the area that you're going to do the cut. Maybe. Let's see. Let's see how this works out for me. And the plastic goes around both sides. It wraps all the way around. I think I'm gonna have to take this all the way off because it keeps folding back on me. So if you can get it to stay though, you can just keep it on until you're done. I guess it's personal preference, but it can help prevent, if you leave the plastic on, can help prevent scratching and that sort of thing. All right, so I'm going to measure out my width of 21 3/8. I find that one of these big markers, these felt tips, seem to work really well for making your marks on this polycarbonate. Things like pencils and pens don't really leave a good mark that you can see. Okay, so somewhere I have a T-square, but I'm not the most organized person in the world, so instead I am just using a, need to get one that's long enough here. So I'm just using a leftover railing piece from the deck to line up my marks here and draw my line. It's not very efficient, but it gets the job done. Close enough, right? So with cutting this polycarbonate. You can cut it with an X-Acto knife. You can cut it with a pair of tin snips. I've tried both. What I find is that the tin snips, you kind of get some like jagged edges and stuff as you're cutting along. And when I was cutting with a utility knife, I would kind of go off the line and not keep it straight. So another option that you can use is using your skill saw with a finishing blade, something that's got the smaller teeth, the much tighter teeth on it. And that will cut through this at a much straighter line. You definitely want to wear safety glasses though, because you know, there's the plastic dust and stuff that will come off of this. So let's go ahead and get this cut. So generally I would use my portable table to cut these on, but I've got the table set up with trim boards drying on it that I painted earlier. So I decided to bring out a couple of skids to lay this across, because this stuff can be pretty flimsy. I want to make sure I have enough support while I'm cutting it. So we'll go ahead and get this first one cut. Okay, so before I can install these, the one thing about this polycarbonate 2-ply is that it requires a dust tape, because it's a 2-ply, 2 sections that have, I don't know what you'd call it, but rivulets, or I don't know what the word is, but there's basically these long air pockets that run through here. Those can fill up if they're not covered with dust and stuff that can then discolor and make your overall sheet get full of crap over time and make it not look so great. So over the ends, on either end, there's this dust tape, and it has these little kind of holes in them that you can maybe kind of see here on the camera. You know, they're screened off holes that allow airflow to get in there, so the condensation can get out but keeps dust out. And so this tape will go over either end and then fold over the sides, and you just line it up so that these dust holes kind of match up with the center of your end when you're putting it in. So this stuff has a sticky back on it. Also, one thing that you will need is a pair of scissors to cut it. It doesn't rip very easy, so definitely have a pair of scissors handy. So you just peel off the sticky back, line it up, and then press it on. So my lineup could have been a little bit better, but it's pretty close. Next step is on the cut side. Gonna need one of these, I think they're called U connectors, and they fit over the side. And this also, because when you cut it, you know, I mean, both sides are closed until you have to shim one down. So if you don't have to cut down a side, then you won't necessarily need this for what we're doing. But because I cut this, now this whole one channel is open. So I'm gonna put this on here, and that will close it off to keep any moisture and dirt and stuff from getting in there. And these things are really kind of a pain to get on. So we'll see how this goes. Actually, it might not be too bad doing it this way. This is gonna make a liar out of me. Nope, it is going to be a pain. Maybe we'll try it this way. If you have this up on the roof and you're trying to work with this, it's just miserable. Maybe I won't have to slide it all the way doing it this way. Let's see how this works out. Maybe I'll go this way. I hate these things. I have seen on the company's website that there's things that you can do, like put a little bit of soapy water on it to help it slide better. Has different things that you can, different recommendations. I tried the soapy water thing and it did kind of help. But when you gotta slide this up 8 feet, it's still a pain. Whoever invented these things, I'm not your fan. Of course, it's my fault for choosing to use it, I guess. Use a different product, folks. Don't use polycarbonate for your soffits. It'll save you hours of frustration. This is a problem I ran into before. I get it 3/4 of the way and then it won't budge at all. Son of a mother. All right, we're gonna try something different here. See if this works. Let's see if I can pry it on here with a screwdriver. Okay, so using a small, thin, flathead screwdriver helped me work it along and pry it on. But what a pain. And I still have to do this 3 more times. Oh man, I have a little bit overhang on this edge and I'm just a couple 1/8 of an inch shy on this edge. I didn't have it quite lined up and it won't budge. But I've got tape right here, so I think that'll be okay. So, now that the hard part's over, we'll go mount this bad boy. Okay, so the receiver battery for my microphone ran out somewhere in the middle of this video. I'm not really sure where, so I'll figure that out during editing, and if I need to, I'll add some commentary over top. But so this is the first piece of soffit I just got in. You saw what kind of a pain it was. My camera's crooked. Maybe? I don't know. So really the stuff is okay to work with, except for putting on these U-joints for the outer edge, that is a real pain. But now that I figured that I can kind of pry it all along as I put it on with the small flathead screwdriver, that seemed to work. It still is a pain to get on, but it's a lot less frustrating than to slide it up the whole 8-foot long edge. So first piece is in, and I'm hoping that the other pieces go much quicker and smoother now that I've worked out what to do with that screwdriver. So I should only need 4 pieces because it came out that I could use exactly 8 feet. On this one, I'll probably have to cut the next one a little bit shorter because the greenhouse is just slightly shy of 16 feet, so I'll probably have to trim off an edge. But I'm gonna go ahead and work through getting the rest of this soffit on to get this closed in. The soffit will serve 2 purposes. One, it's gonna help hold heat in there, which is really your primary purpose. It's because when you have an overhang, if you didn't have a soffit on there, that would all be open to the inside. And so all the temperature from the inside would be escaping out. Secondly, it leaves openings for little birds to come in and make nests in your greenhouse, and you don't want that. So you definitely, if you're doing an overhang on either side, you will definitely have to do a soffit. Again, I would not recommend using this polycarbonate for a soffit. It's just not efficient. It's not cost efficient. Use the aluminum soffit pieces that you can get, or you could use wood that you then paint. It all depends on kind of what you're going for. I just use this because I already had it, and I wasn't going to be using it for anything anytime soon. And I know that I'm still going to have a bunch of pieces left over that will be sitting in my garage for a long period of time. So I decided to use some of the ones that I have. So we're going to work through the soffit today. I've also started painting the trim, so I hope to get a chunk of the trim on today around the door and around the top, which is more of an aesthetics thing, and help kind of seal off some of the upper plastic edges of the corrugated plastic that goes up the sides. The inside's all wired. We've got a ceiling fan, the exhaust fans, all the sockets. The electricians are coming back next week to do a couple other things outside of the greenhouse, but we're also missing a faceplate for the switches for the outside lights and for the fans. And I think there was some other little thing in there that they had to do. So that's putting soffit on the greenhouse. Again, thanks for stopping by, and check out the next episode of the greenhouse build as we move through and start building the tables and getting the trim and kind of just finishing this thing up and planting the seeds here in the next day or so. So hope everything that's going on in your neck of the woods, at your gardens, at your homesteads, your greenhouses, whatever your projects are that are going on, I hope they're going fantastic for you. And I hope that you are having a fantastic day. So come back again, see you soon. Check out the other content, subscribe to the channel. Have a great day. Namaste. I think I need to take a break before I start this next piece.